was a girl, I watched Soupy Sales.
I was called Jukebox by my family because I never shut up.
I had a lot of responsibilities.
When I was a girl, I
loved candy.
I dreamed of becoming a movie star.
I loved being a girl. I thought the world was a pretty exciting place.
When I was a girl, I loved life.
When I was a girl, I wanted to be a grown-up.
I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with your answer. What was it like when you were a girl? Was it fun? At what age did fun turn to awkwardness, to doubt? When did you know that you had imagination, strength, courage? Some of the most powerful connections among women are rarely documented in books about women's history. I'm talking about the emotional ties that bind us, that move us, and sometimes make us double over with laughter. I'm talking about our memories. You can close your eyes to reality, but not memory. We have listened to the memories of some women you may know. These memories are what we share, what we keep, what we pass on and on and on. Think back. How far can you go? 4, 3, 2 years old? What do you remember? A favorite toy? A sound? A smell? A dress? A day? A pet? These fragments of memory are precious cargo. They fed us, formed us. And our very first memory? Mother.
I remember knowing for sure that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Huge blue eyes, red hair, high cheekbones, very expressive face, just an amazing, powerful woman.
She used to sing at parks, and I was intrigued by that. You know, she had her own band, and they'd, like, go to this park in Texas and sing, and people would just, like, crowd around. I thought that's great. When I was young, I thought my mom was a beautiful person, just filled with vibrant energy.
She was very feminine. She always had her nails done and polished, and, you know, her hair was always done, very neat, very clean. But at the same time, my mother was very strong. My father, he was gone from day one, and so I interpreted her as the mother and the father in my family.
My mom, I remember her taking a bath every afternoon in Nivea. You remember Nivea lotion? And putting on earrings and lipstick, and she always wore her hair up in a French twist, and getting dressed and making martinis for when my father came home. And I thought, you know, living in suburbia, that was pretty glamorous.
Very feminine. Not someone I knew well or felt at that time much of a connection to, but someone in a sort of distant and glamorous world.
I thought my mother was very lonely. My parents were divorced shortly after we moved to this sort of idyllic suburban environment. And I remember a lot of days of my mother crying in the bedroom late at night, and my sister Susan and I, who's the oldest, you know, listening at the door.
I thought my mother was the smartest person alive. I thought my mother was very clever, very creative, and seemed to know the answer to every question.
I remember the day that I thought, she doesn't know. I asked her a question, I don't remember what the question was, and I saw in her face that she didn't know, and I remember being stunned because I realized in that moment that she didn't know everything, and up until that point, I thought she knew everything.
No, they didn't know everything, and they couldn't always protect us from our own little girl fears and feelings.
I don't like the dark. I don't like the dark. I like to sleep, you know, with some light source someplace, and certainly, would feel that there were monsters under the bed.
Dust ruffle. I don't know how mothers can put dust ruffles on their children's beds. I mean, I understand the design aspect of it, but the terror aspect of it is huge. So I used to get to the door of my room, and my bed was over there. And I used to run and then spring up and land on my bed high enough so that whatever would come out from under the dust ruffle couldn't get me.
I was very shy. I was shy starting early and going late. I was most afraid of other people, truly.
I remember being very much a crybaby. I would cry all the time. Every time my mom would leave home, I would open up the photo albums and go through and look at her pictures and cry.
Very skinny, very awkward. I had really long arms, and they call me monkey arms.
We may not have seemed perfect to everyone, but our mothers thought we were. We were their baby girls, their little dolls.
My mom used to knit me clothes when I was a kid. She knitted me a couple of red dresses, and I used to wear them all the time. I used to carry around my Raggedy Ann doll, and I used to wear my little netted dresses and run around basically collecting candy for my family members for looking cute.
I had one of those Mexican skirts that had sequins on it, and I loved that skirt. And I had a pair of gold sandals. I was maybe 4 or 5. I was just insane for my gold sandals.
I had this red dress that had 3 blackboards on the skirt. And my mother took some sort of magical white paint, and she wrote on the blackboards, "My name is Anna. My daddy's name is Bob. My mommy's name is Prue." I mean, I would swan around in this dress like nobody's business.
My mom made all her clothes, and I just loved going to the fabric stores and picking out the fabric. I had this lime green wet look jumper, so if you spilled something on it, it would just fall off, and I loved that. And I was in Girl Scouts, so I was always in a uniform.
We had our fancies, our fun, and often our first pals, our pets, who were also some of our first teachers. If they taught us about love, they also taught us about loss.
I had a goldfish named Ajax. What happened to Ajax? I think I won him at a fair, at one of those school carnivals or something. He'd carry him home in a plastic bag.
For some reason, we had all these white mice in cages. And since my mother was always pregnant, she frequently walked around with a mouse in the pocket of her maternity smock. I remember thinking it was unremarkable, but someone would come to the door, and my mother would answer the door, and this little mouse head would come up above the edge of the maternity smock, and someone would scream or recoil or something.
I had a burro, a little donkey that never moved. I had dogs. We had chickens. I had a turtle who bit the dust rather early on, and that was in part because I forgot to feed the turtle. And then my father encouraged a turtle funeral.
We had probably at any given time 5 or 6 dogs living in our house. My favorite of all of them was a little beagle whose name was Sniffer. Sniffer died in my mother's arms, and that was a really difficult thing for all of us. It was something that came on very sudden. And when you're a child, and I had never experienced death on any level, and it was, all of a sudden you realize your own mortality. And we never replaced him.
Still, our days, perfect or not, were for playing. We were at the beginning of the road, and life seemed pretty good.
I don't think I had shoes on for the first, 15 years of my life. running around the suburbs of Long Island.
I liked running around in the yard. I liked playing with my friends. I had short blonde hair at the time and probably always had a tan. Just liked being out in the Southern California weather.
We had a creek running behind our houses, so all the kids ended up hanging out at the creek and came home invariably covered in mud at the end of the day.
We moved a lot. My dad was in the Navy. I was the middle of 3 sisters. We're all a year apart, Irish triplets. My sisters were my first best girlfriends, for sure, because we had a lot in common. We were very close in age, and because we moved around so much when we were very little, you know, we had these built-in playmates.
We used to be out in the streets playing ball, playing double dutch. I was really good at double dutch. People riding bicycles, lots and lots of children, mostly women and children. I remember that the people across the street thought that they were better than us, or they thought that they were better than us, because it was a nicer part of the street. And I remember once that it rained on that side of the street and it didn't rain on ours. And I remember thinking that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. That was just magic.
We all like to think of childhood as this magical place where a little girl's dreams might come true. But as we grow, so does our world. Come back to what's waiting for us beyond our backyard.
Sunday is all for you. So give yourself the star treatment and a chance to win $10,000. Join Cindy Crawford from the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel for a special afternoon of women's entertainment. Indulge with movies and original shows that celebrate all the things we are. And find out how you can win your own Ritz-Carlton vacation and $10,000. Tune in this Sunday starting at 1 Eastern and spend Sunday with Cindy, courtesy of Women's Entertainment. Finding true love can take a lifetime. We offer a simpler way.
He just couldn't help himself, and I couldn't help myself. And there we were, you know.
Every weeknight, we treat you to an unforgettable love story on Great Romances.
We're just like anybody else. Good days, bad days.
Press his buttons and pow.
It's one true love after another. Great Romances, weeknights at 7:30 Eastern, only on Women's Entertainment. See why laughter was the best medicine for these fools in love. Don't miss April Fool's Week every night at 7:30, only on Women's Entertainment.
I'm Cindy Crawford, and you're watching Women's Entertainment.